Ever wonder about the neighbors that live in the seediest house on the block? The one that brings down the property value of all the others? That's us. I've been living in a self-imposed hell for about 4 months now. Like, the place is an incredible 100-year-old, 3-story piece of treacherous concrete shit. You can't fart without your neighbors knowing about it downstairs. You can actually see the sky through the front door. Finding a stud to mount the TV on is like playing fucking Minesweeper with electrical wires, and if you screw up, you risk bringing down the entire wall. I share an 8 by 10 foot room with my adorable country bumpkin boyfriend, who has never lived anywhere but his idyllic Okanogan hometown before, and our 1.5-year-old wolf dog. We share the main floor with my boyfriend's best friend, who we brought with us as our existing roommate, a married musician couple, and their equally large but unequally trained dog. And when I say musicians, think angry synth metal, not indie acoustic rock. There is no living room, just a kitchenette with a makeshift bench you have to work not to fall through. We share the bathroom with our 2 downstairs neighbors. One, who evidently can't sleep through a light breeze, comes up to complain to us when we so much as wash the dishes, past 10 p.m., and one whom we almost never see, which is perfect. The recording studio is also in the basement, and it is not soundproof. There's a revolving door of tenants upstairs, but they have a completely separate entrance, and there's no way of predicting how many people are up there at any given time. Since moving in, I've heard of the problematic religious nut who refuses to move out, the punk chick who sometimes tends the garden, a couple of black guys who are complaining about the Jesus freak, that one dude that was just passed out drunk on the doorstep at Halloween, and a weird French-Canadian guy who always has some strange electrical project or another going on in the backyard. Stealing internet? Making contact with extraterrestrials? Fuck knows. This is a house, not an apartment. As you can imagine, rent is pretty fucking cheap. I moved in, A, because I knew the married couple a little bit through work. B, because I hadn't actually physically seen the place before I agreed to move in, but I knew it was in a pretty good neighborhood. And C, because the rent is pretty fucking cheap, and it's pet friendly. In fact, you can do just about whatever the hell you want in here. Smoke? Sure. Grow pot? Sure. Start a meth lab? Very possible. It's what you'd call a slum. The house next door is the same. There is no contract, and we've never met the landlords. We just deal with our roommates. And by deal with them, I mean hide from them as much as possible. The musician couple I knew became unbelievably strange in the weeks after we moved in. Turns out, he's a neurotic man-child, and she's an obsessive-compulsive hermit, opting to decorate the walls with passive-aggressive notes instead of actually speaking to us. And to top it off, we're convinced they don't actually pay rent because they don't have a reliable source of income. They're the ones who deal with the landlords. Last month, we got into a petty argument about how they don't exercise their dog enough. Hell, I feel like I'm being cruel to my dog just having her here. I spend the majority of the day walking her and training her, working to get her energy down. The whole reason we're here, I have to remind myself, is because I came back to the city to chase a dream. And I wanted to live somewhere where I could afford to work part-time and write, but I haven't been getting much writing done at all. The longer I live here, the more I feel like I'm losing my mind. I drink more. I smoke more weed. I'm a fucking cliché. I feel horrible for the lifestyle I've subjected my friends to. Of course, we'd love to move, but we're still recovering from the cost of getting here in the first place. It's at least 6 months until we have enough in the bank. Last week was awesome. because our musician roommates left to go on a tour for almost a month. Finally, freedom in our own home. Sitting in the kitchen uninterrupted for as long as we wanted felt like a party. But then the racket upstairs started. Pounding, drilling, sawing. We were used to hearing the tenants stampeding up and downstairs at regular intervals, but nothing like this. Obviously, they were doing some renos. Which, hey, good luck. It's a miracle the ceiling hasn't caved in already. We didn't want to be those neighbors, like our neighbor downstairs, so we decided not to complain at first. But it seemed like the banging would never end. We couldn't sleep, we couldn't watch TV, we couldn't think. And then there was the brownish red stain that started forming in the corner of the ceiling of my bedroom after the first night. I thought it was just a shadow, a trick of the light, but after I fell asleep and awoke in the morning, it had grown significantly. We all thought the upstairs neighbors had hit a pipe, but oddly, the spread of the stain stopped completely, so we figured the problem had been dealt with. It was hard to get worked up about these issues when we had no way of contacting the landlords. After almost 3 days of home reno nightmare, it was unusually silent, and it was nice. It was the first time we'd been able to enjoy the house alone. It wasn't a completely terrible place. There was lots of potential for the price. As long as we didn't have crazy roommates to hide from, it was tolerable. It was soothing, falling asleep to the chatter of the raccoons. I was out walking the dog when I ran into the French-Canadian man from upstairs, carrying out garbage bags to his van. He's in his early 30s. I figured he was one of those resourceful hippie stoner types, so I never thought too much of anything strange that he did. I just asked him if he was all done with the renos. He said he was, and apologized for the sound. It's easy to forget how noise travels sometimes. I asked him what he was doing upstairs. Replacing the carpet and sanding the walls. I said it must look nice. To my surprise, he explained his roommates had all moved out, and he decided it was time to renovate. It was much more peaceful now. Finally felt like it could be a home. What a nice thought. But what made everybody suddenly move out? As I was leaving, the French-Canadian man said I had a beautiful dog and asked if she'd like some bones. I asked what kind. Caribou, he said. He'd been hunting with his brother-in-law, and he had lots of bones in his freezer. I said sure, as long as they're big. My dog has splintered deer bones in the past. When he gave me the bag of vacuum-sealed bones, I thanked him politely, but I knew immediately that something was off about them. There was too much meat left on the bones, and the cuts weren't clean, and there was a lot of blood in the bag. I studied the bones carefully, their size, their shape, and it all came to me as I stared up at the reddish-brown stain on the ceiling. I wasn't going to give those bones to my dog. Tomorrow, our roommates will be coming home from their tour. I've been doing a lot of thinking the last few days. The silence has been nice. I even got some writing done. I think I'm going to ask the French-Canadian man to do some renos for us.